Mr. Thompson here. We're looking at 4C. This is the American Revolution, importance of George Washington, the influence of Baron von Steuben and Marquis de LaFayette, and importance of Valley Forge. The Continental Congress appoints George Washington as the commander-in-chief in 1775, and Washington earns this good reputation as a military leader during the French and Indian War. The revolutionary armies are set up into two groups. You have militias, and then you have the Continental Army. So the militias are run by the state and typically provided their own weapons. The soldiers did, and Washington spoke of militias not very well because he said that militias were unreliable in battle, they were poorly trained, and so this is why Washington urged for the creation of a continental army, a standing army, and so that's how the Continental Army comes about. Now, the enlistments in the Continental Army were short. They were typically 1 to 3 years, but they still faced a lot of disadvantages because there was a lack of supplies, lack of food, lack of equipment, and these soldiers weren't very prepared. They weren't highly trained. But Washington takes all these insurmountable odds and does the best he can with them because of his skill as a leader. And so this is where Valley Forge comes into play. It's this winter encampment. So instead of basically taking this time and giving every reason for these soldiers to have their spirits crushed and to give up, to be discouraged and be done, Washington turns it into a way to encourage the troops and train them and better prepare them and get them ready, even though there's a lack of supplies. Now, Steuben and Lafayette help Washington during Valley Forge. Steuben helps train the troops in how to maneuver and how to fire, so different tactics. He creates this military drill manual that is then translated into English. Lafayette is important because he's this link. He's a Frenchman, and he's this link between the French and American alliance because Lafayette says, I want to serve in the army with you, Washington. So he served alongside Washington and fought in many battles and was a very critical player between that French and American alliance. So Washington, with the help of Steuben and Lafayette, uses Valley Forge to train these unprepared troops despite these insurmountable odds because of his effective leadership.